So now that we're done with such a grueling process of sharpening a broadhead, this is one right out of the package. I mean, you'll have to trust me on it, but if you look at the edge, you'll see it just hasn't been sharpened. It also hasn't been used. And you can see the little serrations there. Alright. I'll set this up for a little test. Just a rubber band. It's not stretched very tight. So, rubber band's very similar to vessels and how they move when a broadhead hits them. So we're going to poke this through here, and we see that it didn't cut it. Now we're going to put on one of the ones we sharpened, and I'm going to poke it. I poked that one a little off center. I poked it right through here. I'm going to poke this one here so I have a new place to poke it. I can do this test over and over. I can put a brand new one on there and run this one through first. It's always going to cut the rubber band. It cuts it clean. And I think broadhead sharpening is one of the most missed things in archery hunting. I also think it's one of the most important things. People, it's not the power of your bow that kills the animal. It's this right here. And if it's not sharp, you're not going to have a very good blood trail. And if it is sharp, you're going to have a better blood trail. Alright, how to sharpen a Magnus Stinger. Alright, first off, they come out of the package pretty dang sharp anyway. But I just want to show you, this is the first test of if it's sharp or not. It's not grabbing. It'll cut paper pretty good. Well, it cut paper pretty good. A little furry edge right there on the cut is what I want you to notice. And that's what we're going to try and get rid of by sharpening. So, first off, this little edge right here, if you lay it against your stone, like this, it'll set the right angle. And I'll show you how we figure that out. So, with that ferrule touching right here, set this angle, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, until we've done 30 strokes on that side, and then we're going to do it like this, 30 strokes on this side. Alright? Keep not, so it's touching, just smoothly touching. And you can, on this 800, you can apply quite a bit of pressure, not a bunch, but a little bit, to get the cutting done. So you can see where that black is taken off pretty evenly on that edge. So we've done 30 strokes on each side, and then we're going to go like this. About 10 times, 5 on each side. And now you should be grabbing. Oh boy, it's really grabbing all the way through. That's not sliding anymore. That's digging in. Okay? Okay. We're done with 800 on that side. On this side. So we're going to do this one the same with the 800. Okay. Now, as we can see, the black is pretty well even along that edge. You can see where it skipped a few spots. Not a big deal. We can see that the whole edge is clean, both sides. Okay, they're both just flat digging in all the way. Oh my gosh, it's just grabbing. All right, that's sharp to 800. Now we're going to do the same thing, but a little different. So this is the 1500, and we're still resting it. Oh, I meant to show you on these ferrule. You can see where I'm riding it on the ferrule to act as a guide to keep these angles all the same. Very important. You know, you don't want to shove it in there real hard, but I mean, you know, just and always on those last few strokes is super light, and that's going to make that edge real sharp. So now we'll go to 15, and all we're going to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 16 times. Forgot to go real light. I want to go real light on the last couple drags. Now it's even grabbing more. Okay, and we're going to do the other side the same way. Now we're going to do the same exact thing. You can see both sides are just really grabbing now. Alright, we're going to go with 2000 grit. And we're going to do the same basic thing. Don't run away now. There's a little bit more. Don't take too many strokes, man. You know, 5 or 6 licks on each side, you're there. Why do we want to do this? Well, because this keeps your vessels from sealing off. It makes a nice smooth cut on our vessels. If you leave a little furry edge on that vessel, that clotted blood's going to come up in there and grab those little hairs, and it's going to grab those little hairs, and it causes them to the clotted blood to grab on there and just close off the vessel, and that's why your blood trails are diminishing as they go. A blood trail should get heavier as it goes. That's when you know you got a nice sharp broadhead. Final step on this, we want to do that little bleeder too. Don't worry about that tonto point. We don't want to damage the integrity of that tonto. It's there for a reason, and if we try and sharpen it, we might thin it out and make it bend easier. We want it to stay like it is. Alright, so the bleeder, you're just going to come up in here and feel that edge where it's cutting, and just give it a few strokes on each side. We're not going to get real critical on that, and we're just going to do it with 1500. Okay, and you can see it's flat grabbing, where this one it isn't. So be careful now, this thing's sharp. not there yet. There she is. Alright, that's a sharp broadhead. You notice I'm using a piece of arrow shaft here. This is one that broke off in an animal. I'll just use this little piece. It's a nice tool to work with. These diamond stones here is what I'm using. That's a lethal weapon. That sucker will take them out. It's going to leave you a great blood trail compared to any factory blade. You're not going to get there from here. Factory sharpening leaves a micro edge on it, little serrations, and it's just going to leave a little furry edge on the vessels. So there you have it. Alright, now that we have them sharp, I'm going to show you another little test here. This is factory, out of the box. Like I said, they're pretty sharp. They cut paper. I'm going to have to work at it a little bit. But what I want you to see here, I'm going to try and turn it around a little bit. I want you to see these furry edges to the cut. And this jagged tear. Okay? Now we're going to try. Now we're going to try the one we sharpened. See how much cleaner that is? That's what it's going to look like when you cut the vessel in an animal. So not only is it going to cut your vessels cleaner, it's going to cut way more of them. So when I shoved that broadhead through the rubber bands, you can see how, okay, if you shoved it through 25 vessels, alright, maybe you cut 10 of them, and maybe 10 of them got out of the way on a factory blade. Maybe when you shove that sharpened one through there, you cut all 25. You know, maybe you just, I mean, we know we're going to cut more. Less of them are going to move out of the way. We want to cut as many as we can. We want to cut as big ones as we can. And we want them to stay open. And that's why we sharpen. You can leave it like that. 2000 grit is really sharp. And it's for sure that this next step, you're not going to actually make it duller. Okay? I'm going to take it like this, and I'm going to lay it exactly the same on that edge. I'm going to lay it on that ferrule, right where I was. This has got to be done very lightly. And we're just going to polish this edge. There's a little bit of compound on here. And you can see when you're laying it right. You just watch and make sure it's laying flat. You got to make sure you're not dragging that on the edge here. You'll tear up the leather. You can see where I've caught it a few times. You know, little nicks. And also, this is where you're gonna drag it away from you, off the edge. If you're going to take it to this level, what you got to realize is whether or not you can do it. All right, is it getting sharper or is it getting duller? If you can't do it and it's getting duller, leave it at 2000 like we had it before. It was plenty sharp. All right. So number 2 here, this is the stropped one. And number 5 here is just a 2000. I'm going to show you that they both cut the rubber band. That was the stropped one. Now, I want you to notice something. I cut both sides. The stropped one did not. What's that tell us? That tells us I'm not a good stropper, so that's why I don't do it. And I think at 2000 does a better job. I'm going to cut more vessels.